Hi, Trish. I am so glad to have you back here with me to talk about some important matters. So, welcome back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you giving me the invitation again. It always feels a little bit like a tea party whenever we get together. We get to talk and chat and sip some tea and talk some tea or spill the tea, as they say these days. So
Good,
I'm
good. Yeah, I'm
happy
glad
to.
you're here. So, I wanted to start out with the question of some of what I'm talking about in my podcast these days is the idea of people working on themselves and trying to change some of those things that have been habitual that they haven't been able to get to. And then also just looking at change in terms of personal change, personal focus, qualitative life changes, and being unsettled with everything that's going on around us in this world, which is always in focus at some way. How does the external world really impact how you're trying to work on yourself? But I just wondered if you could shed some light in our tea party on that topic.
Sure, absolutely. Well, just to kind of reset, what I do day to day is I read energy. That's what I do. People contact me and we kind of look at what's in their energy field and what's affecting them, and to the point of how do they manage their lives in the way the world is right now? How do they, what's the next step? How do they next level? Also, to even understand, I think of it like a spiritual GPS. Am I where I think I am? Am I going crazy now? It's so easy with so much information coming in. It's like, I think I'm in Miami, but am I actually in Milwaukee? So a lot of times, looking at someone's energy field kind of helps them get more centered and placed. I also, I like to think of it as I have a Batman and a Bruce Wayne job. That's my Batman job. My Bruce Wayne job is I actually work in change management in the corporate environment.
Mhm.
So, to the same feeling, my work is about helping people manage change. Whenever a new software system comes in or something is changed in their work environment, how do you incorporate that? How do you accept it? How do you make the best of it? So that it's fruitful not just for yourself, but for people around. So I'm constantly working with the theme of change and how to metabolize it into your
Mhm.
life, whether it's work or on a
Mm.
personal level. So I'm going to admit, Susan, there's a lot of people some trouble right now. I think there's who can say that there's not quite a lot going on that
Mm.
really challenge our ability to stay focused on our own personal development whenever there's such a, I guess, a calling or an outcry to pay attention to what's going on around you. How do
Right.
you balance the two? Does that make sense how I said it?
Completely, yeah. And I think that is the thought is like even if it becomes less important to work on yourself and becomes less important to examine your quality of your life or your relationships when there's so much going on, so distracting. What do you tell your people when they come in and they're so distracted from
Well,
themselves?
well, the first thing that I do is really try to focus them in on their bodies
Mhm.
because, our minds, can really locate itself everywhere. It's in the past, it's in the future, it's down the hall, and it manages many, many things. The first thing, even whenever I begin with a session, is, we get back into our body. It's like let go of whatever is knocking at the door, whether it's visualizing a do not disturb sign, on yourself temporarily, just
Mhm.
so that you can start to have more cohesion in your presence. Because a lot of what soothes in a time of change is you got to bring it back in. Because otherwise, people are very fractured energetically and also maybe even physically as well. They're over here, they're over there. It kind of brings a cohesion back to where am I really? Back to me. Because I've always found that real change starts with you, within you, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I might have said before, I think it was Gandhi that said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And if you're scattered, then you're just adding more scatter. So that's one of the first things I do is get people back into their body,
Mhm.
real simply, and just hold space for doing that. And that is where you start to recognize where you are, and then we start to peel away the threads of everything that feels like demand and overwhelm. But you got to come back first.
So body first,
Mhm.
then what?
So we begin with the body. And I could even tell you, if you're up for it, a little exercise you can do.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Since we're talking body, this is like first step, is what you can do is you just close your eyes. You just take a moment and close your eyes and just, I like to tell people a great way to do this is just start to close out the rest of the world. Sometimes that means you try to identify about five different individual sounds. It gets you present. You might not get up to five, but that's fine. That's something you can do. And then after that, you start to notice kind of where is your energy at? I know it's hard with me talking in your ear here, but you start to wonder, where is my energy? Start to see if you can notice where your energy field is, your aura. Is it by the wall? Is it tucked up real tight towards you? You just begin to notice, where is your energy? And you start to just breathe. And we take time to do this, where we start to pull it back in. Like, if you were your inner 6-year old,
Hmm.
where is the front of your aura? Your inner 6-year old would know. Where is it behind you? Where is it on the sides? And if you don't know, make it up. Make it up.
Hmm.
Where is it above you and below you? Start to just postulate that you're just framing where you are. And if you notice that your energy is with your work or it's with your kids, well, that's the first thing, to recognize that you're starting to get yourself scattered. Maybe at least for the time we work together or a little bit in your day, start to ask it to come back in. Just
Hmm.
like calling a dog back in. Come on.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then you just
Hmm.
start to, and that's kind of where we begin to settle. And you'd be surprised how many people just start to sigh, like, or yawn.
Hmm.
Again, it's creating that cohesion again, because that's when you start to get your answers. It's when you start to hear your truth, not when you're like this. It's
Right.
when you're like, okay, whew,
Hmm.
two
So,
minutes.
yeah, it makes me think about, firstly, I just want to admit I was peeking a few times, like, am I supposed to be my eyes closed? So yeah, people might
No,
have
it's fine.
thought,
I'd peek too. I'd peek too.
saw that. Okay. So yes, you could probably open your eyes now if you wanted to. Um, but I was thinking about, there's these times that we let our energy out, and it could be times that, if I think about this in terms of when I go on a walk, I'm like, I really try to let go of all the thoughts I have so I can let my energy out and take up some space. But absolutely, when I'm like in a place where I'm trying to read what's going on with me, I'm pulling it a little closer. So, and aura, I think for people to understand is like where your energy stops, would you say?
Yeah, think of it as where you begin, where you end, and the rest of the world
Yeah.
begins.
Hmm.
I think, I don't know who makes this stuff up, but it's about 18 to 24 inches from your body, as they say, when
Hmm.
it's healthy. When
Right.
your aura is large, it means you've got a lot of extra in it. When it's too small, when it's too up close, it
Hmm.
means that you're kind of compacted. It's like trying to walk down a very narrow hallway.
Hmm.
There's like a sweet spot that typically goes that way. And
Hmm.
and what I would say, it's an interesting thing you brought up about trying to let things go. Sometimes you have to let things go to bring things back in.
Right.
I don't think that they're counterpoints to each other.
Hmm.
They're ways of meeting. Maybe you need to let go of your child for a moment energetically so
Right.
that you can bring
Hmm.
your
Your
energy
work
in.
day or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
your work day,
yeah.
whatever. Mhm.
And I think it's also just being aware of your energy makes you aware of other people's energy and what you walk into at the end of the day, or who you happen to meet when you're out and about. You can kind of pick up on what people's energies are. Some people are super happy. Some people are like, huh, they acted happy, but it didn't feel like they were happy. So there's those kinds of energy, what would you call it? Picking up different people's energy and understanding your own better. Maybe that's what we're talking about in terms of centering.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of encapsulating it
Mhm.
because I think we're taught from even when we're very young to adapt and take on other people's energy. It's a way to connect. It's a way to understand,
Mhm.
to be compassionate and empathetic. And there's many empaths out there in this
Yeah.
world.
Hmm.
But again, you're absorbing a lot of energy all day
Right.
long. Even when you think you're not, if you're sensitive, you're going to pull it in.
Hmm.
And so it becomes, how can
So
you
describe
help?
some of the details of an empath's energy.
Ah,
So people, yeah,
yes.
so people know what you mean by that.
Oh, yes, empath. So, what an empath is, I'd like to think of it as an emotional sponge. It's somebody like if you were to walk into a room and suddenly, and people are, it could be, they could be having a lot of fun, everything could be being great, but then suddenly feeling, wow, overwhelmed. Or an empath can be somebody who, when you are, oh gosh, how should I say it? You're feeling good one morning, and you start to, uh, oh, I'm going to meet a friend for lunch, but then suddenly you start feeling really nervous and tense. And then you meet your friend for lunch and you're like, oh my gosh, it was you. You're the one nervous and tense. Empaths are people that can absorb energy, especially emotional energy from things that are around them. And the key thing is that my person might not even be in your presence yet. It might be the anticipation, the understanding that you're going to meet up later. It's think of it just as an emotional sponge.
Mm-hmm.
And think about it. If you watch the news, guess what empaths are doing? They're pulling in not just what impacts them, they're
Hmm.
feeling what's going on in these different parts of the world. They're stepping outside of what is locally true for them. And then they're kind of taking it all on. And this, on an energetic level, when I see it, it shows up as foreign energy. It's stuff that isn't them anymore.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and though empaths are often very heart-based, they want to help other people, want to be of service. But the bottom line is if you've got too much pain in your space because you've absorbed someone else's, then you can't help them because you're in there with them. It's like somebody's in quicksand. If you want to help them, you have to stay on shore and throw them
Hmm.
the rope. If you jump in, an empath will jump in the quicksand with them accidentally. And then now you're both drowning. And so that idea of service and helping can't happen anymore. So that's why the distance of recognizing, you know what? I feel deeply is what you could say. If you're someone who would characterize yourself as someone feeling deeply,
Hmm.
then even if it's not on every topic, then you need to be aware of that. If you feel
Hmm.
deeply, you're absorbing someone else's energy. So maybe after you see them, you go take that walk.
Hmm.
Maybe
Hmm.
you do that 2 minutes of
Hmm.
closing your eyes and going, let me rein it in a little bit. It doesn't
Hmm.
harm the other person at all. What it does is allow you to get on the shore so you can throw that rope to them.
Right.
It enables you to help the other person. It enables you to grow as a human being in your own
Hmm.
path because now you can function. You're not debilitated by
Right. Right.
feeling them too much. Does
Hmm.
that kind of
Yeah, it
give you
does.
a,
So we go from, so this is sort of just giving people the idea about the energy work talk and how what intuition looks like and things like that. But if you go from the body and then your next step is,
your next step is spirit.
uh-huh.
It's very common language to say um, mind, body, spirit. You know, we hear it all the time, and that's fine. But really, on a hierarchy perspective, it's the energy. You're animated by something, whether you want to call it spirit or I don't know what, juice, you know,
Nature or whatever.
nature,
Hmm.
exactly. Whatever
Hmm.
you want to call it, it's really spirit, energy, then body, then mind. Mind
Okay,
is a,
so it's body, spirit, and mind.
yes. So what we can work with in terms of building our intuition, if we want to get more attuned with who we are, if we want to get more attuned with our energy,
Hmm.
what I would recommend to
Hmm.
start with is start with the body because it's right there in the middle. Whether you say mind, body, spirit, or spirit, body, mind, it's right in the center. It's what we can work with and it's tangible. Start there. So when you are, wanting to become more aware of yourself,
Uh-huh.
aware of your energy, if you want to calm the mind, go to the body. It's right in the middle. Start to pay attention to what your body is doing. Is it tense? I mean, it's as easy as that.
Hmm.
Is, um, does this make me feel heavy or does this make me feel light? Does this thought make me feel heavy or does this thought make me feel light? Does
Yeah.
same for a situation, this person. We're not judging it. All
Hmm.
we're doing is we're letting the body speak as the arbiter for, let that signal come through because your mind is a problem-solving tool. It will
Mm.
have you march through something and persevere. Um, your spirit is something so much lighter and hard to access.
Right.
But the body, it's right here. Pay it. It's all about paying attention to the body, which is why being able to pull your energy towards things makes your body feel good. Instead of being pulled in a bunch of different directions,
Right. Right.
you
Got
feel
that.
like, oh, we're back in the body again. Does
Hmm.
that make sense how I
Yeah,
phrased
so
it?
go to the body first.
Body first,
Hmm.
without
Okay.
question.
So also there's this idea you talked about a little bit earlier, is like being scattered.
Mhm.
And there's an idea about like being in the present, right? Being in real time is another way to say it. So what are some of the things that you might recommend to someone to just get in real time? Like,
Yeah, because that's actually where your body is in the
yeah.
moment.
Hmm.
Because again, our minds can go into the future or the past. Who knows where our spirit is? It can be in the other room, but our body is only in the moment. Again, there's that body again. So how do you get present? How do you get in real time? Well, one that I recommend to people is what we briefly touched on earlier, which is um, close your eyes and identify 5 sounds.
Right.
You
Hmm.
have to be in the moment and really take a moment, see if you can get to 5. It's okay if you don't. And what you'll find often is you'll notice the birds, you'll notice traffic in the distance. It's a forced presence of
Hmm.
awareness of
Hmm.
what's around me right now, maybe even your heartbeat or your breath. Number one way to get you in the moment. Another way to get you into real time
Hmm.
is what do they call this? Like a quick hack. If you could remember to do this,
Hmm.
you want to reset your nervous system. Because again, when you're scattered, your breath tends to be, and it's an exaggeration, it's very rapid. Do an 8 count exhale.
Hmm.
And you're not trying to time it on a watch. It doesn't have to be precise, but it's
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, like that. In your head, exhale, a slow, long 8 count exhale repeatedly. And you can do this while talking to somebody.
Yeah.
I can be talking to you and you can be
Hmm.
sitting in your seat, exhaling really slowly. And it will reset. I think it's your vagus nerve. It really hits on your vagus nerve.
Hmm.
It resets the part of your nervous system that it's like, okay, calm. And also think about it. When you're exhaling, you're letting
Hmm.
go,
Yeah.
right?
It's so interesting because these are the main concepts that are coming up everywhere right now. We're all thinking about them, right? Nervous system, vagus nerve, increase your exhale. I mean, these are, and so the thought is when people are listening, are they really doing it? Are they really, really trying to see the difference? Because um, it's so easy to hear what's being talked about and say, okay, I'm kind of doing it. I think I'm doing it. But the regular practice of doing it will bring you into present real time, right?
I thought you made me just think of another one because you're absolutely right. Us talking about it versus
Mhm.
somebody doing it, a whole
Yeah,
nother ball game.
right, right.
Often what I see whenever I work with clients, this is also getting you in the body, and this is
Mhm.
practice,
Yeah,
because, you know, as they say, you can't catch a falling knife. When you're in the throes of things, it's really hard to be calm because, I think Eckhart Tolle said it's you're in your pain body. You're already off and running.
right.
And what you want to do is you want to practice presence when everything is okay. And here's what I often see with clients, and they can play with this too,
Hmm.
is put your dishes away gently. Okay. How often are we just slamming those dishes and the glasses in? We throw the silverware. I'm not talking about trying to be silent. That puts effort into it, but a consciousness of put your dishes away so they're not slamming. When
Hmm.
you um, when you brush your teeth, are you trying to get the sin off? It's like, no, you didn't eat Oreos. It's okay. You don't have to scrub them to death. Be gentle. When you bathe, are you scrubbing? But no, be gentle, be gentle. Again, these
Hmm.
are all body exercises
Right.
that
Be
bring you
really
into presence.
present in the moment with yourself and your action. And yes, and so it's not like what is being asked is like sit down, meditate, stay for hours and hours. It is really just like your presence can be in every activity that you do.
Yeah, in your
Hmm.
breath during a conversation, in your chores of your house. It brings intentionality, and because intention is just another way of trying to align what you're doing with being present in the moment
Hmm.
instead of the other. And so again, these are really small, silly things, but they can really add up to, I guess, reprogramming habits that we
Right.
drop
So
into.
because our theme here today is talking about how to start working on your emotional and intuitive part of yourself, and then also how can you create change in your life or yourself, wherever you want to develop some kind of different way of being in the world or being with yourself, is like how can you sustain it? There's a lot of times where like we're on a breath work diet where that's what we're going to do for a while, but then we forget the tools. So I wanted you to talk about that, and then you brought up Eckhart Tolle and the pain body, and I wanted you to just talk about one would notice that the pain body's coming up, like what would be happening in the body if they notice. I mean, other than, I don't know, I don't even want to go into what I think it would be.
And of course it's always different for different people. But to your point of wanting to make lasting change, to that topic, I think our modern lives have taught us that, we get that dopamine fix from scrolling on, Instagram or YouTube or whatever is out there these days. And so we've really got a shorter attention span than ever. So I think whenever we talk lasting change, we don't our ruler is really short. Change takes a long time to happen. Look at nature. It takes weeks for that seed you put in the ground to turn
Mhm.
into a pea. It has to go through a process of an evolution of getting you to the new place you're at. And you want that because using that metaphor of nature, the plant needs to acclimatize to its surroundings so that it can be strong and it can last. Things need to take time. So change happens over a much longer extended period of time than we wish. We think as a new iPhone comes
Mhm.
out every 3 months, we should change that fast, and we just don't. Look at evolution. It takes a long time. So first step is lasting change is going to take probably 2 to 3 times longer than you wish. It doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means, don't stop because you
Mhm.
don't see a result immediately.
Right.
Do the body stuff. The body stuff will always ground in intuition because
Hmm.
it will create a cohesiveness with you. You'll start seeing better, you'll start feeling better. It doesn't,
Right.
it can be small, but be prepared for it taking a minute. And just because it takes a minute doesn't mean it's bad or that you failed.
Hmm.
It just means that to have something last, it needs to, everyone knows if you build a house like that, it's probably not built well.
Right. Right. I always think about change when I look at the measurement of my change or my evolution is I don't look at it on a bad day because when I look at it on a bad day, I look at how fast can I get over my bad day? Like how many tools do I have in place that I'm actually utilizing and not just fantasizing about, right? Like go take that walk or go do that thing, take care of yourself, like that, those kind of universal, all right, I'll get to that. Um, but it's on a good day where I feel like, oh, suddenly I do see the quality of
Yeah.
of my life or the quality of my change or my quality of something that I've been striving for or thinking about for a while. So it's interesting, like when you take the measurement, right? The measurement might be recovering faster as a measurement of change, and a measurement might be like suddenly you're able to see that things are a little bit easier or that you're not as whatever, like if you got over a major thing, you're not as affected by it anymore, something like that.
Huge, huge. That's a great point because we all have bad days.
Right.
Everybody has a bad day. Don't measure on a bad day because
Mm-hmm.
everything is skewed to that filter. And yeah, when you think, well, you really hit a nail on the head, is that this is not about not feeling pain. It's about how fast you recover from it because we live in a dualistic world, good, bad, dark, light. It isn't
Right.
about eliminating pain or discomfort. It's
Mm-hmm.
about what's your recovery look like. Do
Right.
you have the tools? And what took me down for 3 days only took me down for 2 hours now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. It's not
Hmm.
about never feeling pain. It's about how quick you're noticing you come back from it.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Right. And so when the pain body shows up,
Mhm.
it's like it's that I always think about that as the trigger that I have to watch how I'm responding to it. Like once I'm in it, there's nothing I can really do until I get remove the pain body, until I remove the trigger.
Yes, yes. It's Eckhart Tolle in his book, The Power of Now, is when I think the first time he really
Mhm.
coined that phrase, and I love it because I think it's so rich in what's actually going on. You're
Yeah.
in pain. You're in pain.
Right. You could say
DEFCON
activated
1.
too. You could say I'm activated,
Yes, I'm
triggered.
activated. I'm unhinged. I'm not
Right. I'm in the
myself.
past. I'm living the past today. I'm in my grief. Hmm.
Any number, whatever your pain, your flavor of pain for that day, that's exactly it. And what he talks about, it's a wonderful book, and it talks about and this is what I'm referring to, is that as you said, once it's out, it's too late. Then you're just in damage control. Then you're just trying to breathe through it. Then you're
Hmm.
trying to be as quiet and calm as possible. I always tell people when you're triggered, if you can get out of the room, do it. I go hide in the bathroom. Give yourself 5 minutes. You need space.
Hmm.
I gotta go, make up an excuse just so you can break the momentum because it's energetic momentum and you're going to try to break that. But to the question of how do you not get into the pain body, that happens when you're calm. That happens when you're watching the body, as we talked about earlier, when you're
Right.
putting your dishes away a little more gently, when you're more present.
Hmm.
Because if you're scattered, there's that word again, all over the place, you'll
Hmm.
never see the pain body coming. It'll sneak up on you because I'm over here, I'm over there, and wham, here it is.
Hmm.
When you're slowing down, whenever you're more body aware. Oh, why are my shoulders tense? I mean, you can feel a migraine before it comes on. You can feel the aura of it. You can feel a headache. Oh, I feel the tension. And if you can feel it, you can change your body posture. You can shake it off or go swimming. But if you're out there everywhere scattered, then you can't stop the pain. You can't
Right.
stop the pain body. It'll sneak up on you. So once it's there, you just try to bear down and hide in the bathroom if you can. But
Mhm.
beforehand, what you do is you practice that presence, that body awareness, because it will be your best guard dog about I'm starting to get triggered. I can feel my body because this feels heavy. This feels heavy. Okay, it's heavy. I got to take a minute. I got to do that eight count breathing. I've got to go take a walk. I've got to pet my dog or my cat. It's your signal because you can stop the pain body coming out if you become really present. And as he would say, when you're in the now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's a muscle.
Right. It I've been talking about it like the trigger and the when your body triggers you, in some
Yeah,
kind of painful way.
exactly.
It's kind of the thing that everyone's talking about right these days. The brain fires, creates a message like this is the story. And if you stick with the story, it gets worse. If you stick with
Yes.
the body, you can actually recover from it. And the body might be, just taking the breaths, calming yourself down, even labeling the feeling of it, of what's
Yes.
coming up, like labeling the feeling um and then making some kind of connection so that sometimes I think pushing away from what's going on with you to what's going on with that person next to you, like especially if you're in an interaction that went bad. Like, what are they thinking about? How are they thinking about this that we're getting into this kerfuffle, you know, if it's with the person. But it is that whole idea about reading your body and getting out of your head.
Yeah, I
And
mean that right
yeah,
there could be just the whole tagline. Be in your body, not in your head.
right.
And when you do that, it'll tell you those triggers.
Hmm.
It will let you know what's coming because um the body the body will feel it before your mind labels it.
Right. So if we're in this world where we're all feeling a little bit unsettled and what would we call it, overstimulated,
Hmm.
um, how do you get your clients to focus on support and good things in their lives and trying to find and feel joy? How do you do that with them?
Well, how I see it whenever we are working together, um, joy tends to be made up of like millions of small moments, right? It's millions of little things.
Hmm.
It's when you saw that flower bloom in your yard, when your child gave you an extra hug and said, when you had that nice smell or that was a good meal. We tend to think on grand scales where joy is like, wow, I'm in Hawaii or something, which is great. But joy, actually, on an energetic level, are comprised of these millions of moments. And what happens is that it's not about, um, having people dismiss the pain they're in. It's about allowing you not to dismiss the joy, right? It's like
Right.
the joy is tiny bites, bite size.
Hmm.
And if we go for, the yacht in the mansion, then you're missing the point. Joy is the sunrise. It sounds cliche, but it's really true. It's the millions, and I promise you, there's probably more of those million little things than there are the bad things. But let's remember biologically,
Yeah.
our brain is wired for survival. So
Right.
it's going to notice what's off
Hmm.
faster. And we tend as humans to dismiss the little joys. So with clients, sometimes we just get as simple as, well, what didn't go wrong today? What didn't go wrong? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like we're quick to say all the stuff that did, but what didn't
Right.
go wrong? Well, the sheets were clean.
Hmm.
The dog isn't barking,
Right.
and we dismiss that, right?
Hmm.
Oh, that's not important. Of course it is. You got clean sheets, you got a happy dog, you got
Hmm.
sunshine outside. That's what joy is. Little
Right.
millions of little moments, and not dismissing those are a great counterpoint whenever people are feeling overwhelmed or sad, or I'm just in this going, okay, what didn't go wrong.
Right, right, right. And it's not to minimize that the thing
No.
that's bad is hard, but it also is like there are these other moments in life, and sometimes we miss them.
Oh,
You
all
know,
the
we
time.
completely miss them. Yeah.
Right, because we're always chasing something.
Right.
And when you're always trying to get somewhere, you miss that little flower blooming. And again, it's not to dismiss what the pain is, it's to
Right.
balance it.
Right. But, just I always tell people this thing is like it's like you're a little kid at a funeral, right?
Mm,
If there's grief or a hard thing, like I'm just saying funeral could be anything that's difficult, but that you can't be at the funeral the whole entire 24-hour day, right? There has to be all these other places that you can move your mind, body, spirit into and around. Maybe you're walking there. Maybe you're having a good meal. Maybe you got a good hug from somebody. So there are there's all the other parts of the other side of grief, right? That helps you get through grief, or the other side of that hard feeling or that hard day that helps you get through that day.
yes. And again, getting back to the pain body, when you're really in the pain, saying cheer up ain't gonna cut it. You
Right,
just
right.
can't. That's when
Right.
you
But if
just
that
say,
person that's in the pain is starting to look around a little bit, then maybe they will be one of their tools could be looking for what didn't go wrong. Right.
yes,
Hmm.
yes. But
Yeah.
when you're in the thick of it, it's too much to expect yourself to
Right.
feel better.
Or to
That,
ask somebody to do sometimes. It's
yes.
almost insulting in a way sometimes when you like snap out of it.
Oh, yeah. That's like one of the worst things you could say
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is they can't do it. So it's way better to
Hmm.
just go, you know what? It's just going to be one of those days. It's just going to
Right.
be one of those days. I'm going to give myself some grace.
Hmm.
Mwah. And I'm going to,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, kiss yourself if it helps. I'm just gonna sit there and I'm gonna maybe watch Netflix all day. I'm gonna
Right.
give
I
myself a
always tell
pat.
people that I recently heard something that really helped me, and I tell this to people now is that you know, you're such a good friend. Like a lot of times we're really good people, right? There's really good people
Oh,
around in the world that also are the people that hurt a lot. Like really wonderful, sensitive people hurt a lot. They're sensitive empaths, right? But I always say, think about how good of a friend you are to other people. And I wonder if you could just be a really good friend to yourself today. Like if you were the absolute best friend that would come in and just be with you and because they would know you so well, they could be with you the way that you need to be with yourself, right? And we know those things because sometimes we try to be that person to other people. But to turn it around, I think is one other way to get out of the pain body.
it's great.
Hmm.
It's a really, I love the way you've positioned that. Just the other day, I was working with a client, um, and again, this is just pure energy work, but it's about taking in, seeing yourself as a little child, because we can often find a lot of compassion
Hmm.
for kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And you see yourself as a 6-year-old or a 8-year-old, see you at that age and, give yourself a hug. Tell yourself it's going to be okay, you know,
Hmm.
um, because I think we're all just big kids. And the part that
Right.
really is in the pain is that it has deep energetic roots into
Hmm.
a part of us that might have been unseen or
Right.
feels helpless. And we can say, no, come over here. I got you. Very similar to remembering what a good friend you are and be a friend to yourself is see young you and just go, you know what do you need? A teddy bear, an ice cream cone, a hug.
Yes.
It's like saying
Right.
hello to the little person in us that is like, oh man. I don't know, that
Right.
can that can go a long way to
Yes.
helping people.
Right. So we're talking about like dealing with trying to have a quality focus on your life and on yourself in times that are very unsettled that would tend to make us all scattered and overstimulated. You and I were talking about sort of how fast the world goes and how that's making us feel like we're going fast when we're getting ready for the talk. But I also wanted to talk about the synchronicity because that came up in our scheduling of this talk of just, um, kind of me thinking about asking you to talk with me again and you getting some indication that, that someone had listened to our last podcast. So I thought there is that concept of synchronicity. And I always love to go back to it because I think it's a powerful one. And it's also a way of working on developing your intuition. So how would you describe it?
Yeah, no, I love that word synchronicity because I do believe that the universe works for you, not to you, and that there's signs everywhere. We just have to slow down enough for it. And I worked with clients for years, and I had one in particular that had reached out to me, and we were in a session, and and he goes, "Oh, I know what you look like." And I'm like, "How do you know what I look like?" Because, a lot of stuff I do is on the phone. And he goes, "Oh, I saw you on a podcast. And it was your podcast. And I don't even think you know this person." And he just happened to trip across it. And he's like, "Wow." And I said, "Well, guess what? I'm going to do it again in a couple of days."
Hmm.
And he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's great." And
Hmm.
so I think to me, that's a synchronicity. Someone who doesn't know you happened to see me. Then he books a reading with me. And mind you, he's like, "Wow, we've met like 88 times." Or something. I'm like, "Well, I can't believe you actually counted over the years, but
Hmm.
that's great." It's like, wow, I saw you, I booked you, and here you are doing this again. I
Hmm.
mean, it's like, well, what are the chances? And I
Right,
think
right.
I think that's how we really validate magic. And again, for intuition and energy, again, start with the body. That's kindergarten. It's everything can access. But the more present you become in the body, the more you start noticing patterns
Right.
and the synchronicity that you're talking about. Like I
Hmm.
say, it's about, wow, I was just thinking of that song and it came on the radio. Or I was just thinking about you and this person reached out. That's not a mistake.
Right,
It's
right.
it's
I always think
synchronicity.
about it like there's another layer that we can live in the world, right? There's another layer of intuition, of energy, of you know, knowing that the universe comes. How did you phrase that? Is for us, not against
Yes.
us, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
everything's happening for you, not against you. And it's so
Right.
easy to think, what
Hmm.
now?
Hmm.
Which is it's happening to me.
Hmm.
But maybe a quick thing that would help too is again, a lot of times things show up in patterns. So I'd like to tell people if you look at the clock and it's 11:11 or 12:12 or 4:44, what if every time you saw a repeat of the numbers, you told yourself, the universe loves me? you know, it's got my back. I mean, it's silly. And it's not about what the numbers mean, because I know people go, "What does four mean?" I'm like, "Pfft, who
Yeah,
cares?"
right.
It doesn't matter. What
Yeah,
matters is the repetition. So
right.
if every time you
Hmm.
happen to notice, oh my God, it's
Right.
3:33.
Or every time you have a
Mwah.
synchronicity. Yeah.
Yeah, the universe
Mhm.
loves me.
Yeah,
The repetition. Just
right.
imagine, talk about little joys. Watch that just accumulate. The universe loves me. And then you start seeing more. Then you
Right.
start seeing more. And this is how you build your joy
Right.
bank.
Right, right. Your joy bank. And also that idea about I know we're talking about a lot of thoughts, but part of it is to try to have this other side of talking about working on yourself, which is actually working on the good parts of your life, even though things are scattered and uncertain, that is the way to keep your quality of life going and your vision for yourself going. But the other is the whole idea about again, the repetition, because I want to pull this in about grounding yourself, right? About grounding your energy. And we talked about it being like not just one way, it's like a 360 ground.
Right, right. Which is sort of how we began, which is the idea of, remember, you're going to see themes here. Get into your body, which is why you close your eyes. We don't have to do it now, but it's why you close your eyes is to lock out the outside world.
Hmm.
You start to 360 degrees. Where is my attention? Where is my attention? And then even in, oh, my attention's at work. Well, can I soften that? Maybe I feel it in my shoulder. Can I soften my shoulder and let that go? Pull it in.
Hmm.
My worry is with my health. A very, very valid worry. Maybe I could, where do I feel that in my body? Maybe I could soften that. Maybe I put my hand on that part and give it a little love, a little bit of softening. And then when you do that, you start to again pull your energy back in. And then you start to go, okay, this is how I can show up. Because really, you know, this is about showing up the best you can be.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're all over the place, it's kind of hard to do that. You know,
Right.
it's and so it's again taking a moment, the being present, let the body help you with that. Softening the body softens this, what you're clinging on to. And
Mm-hmm.
then, allow you to detach just temporarily so you feel more you. And when you feel more you, you show up better.
Right.
You
Right.
could I don't know, it accumulates. You start training yourself to do that even when you're not consciously doing it.
Right. So the practice of these things is that it's not instant cure, it's the practice of these things.
Yes,
So,
it has
so
to be that way.
yeah, it
Look
has
at
to be.
nature.
So maybe the things that people heard us talk about today are the ones that you'll practice. There's not too many of them, right? What is there? It was like grounding, you
Hmm.
know, pulling your energy in,
Pulling your
figuring out where
energy
your
in.
energy is, pulling it
Hmm.
in, and noticing more of the small joys.
Hmm.
Did I miss
Hmm.
one?
Nope, nope, nope. Again, focus on the body, gentle dishes, gentle
Right.
cleaning,
Uh-huh. Notice
softening.
what's going well instead of what's going poorly.
Right, right. What
Hmm.
didn't go wrong today, even if
Right.
that's the
Right.
best you can do.
Right.
And again, those
And then the
soft.
synchronicities as a kiss from the universe.
Right.
Right.
Repetition is patterning.
Right. I
And
always think about too, it's the just like when people are trying to overcome a limiting belief, it's
mm,
always really good to, and we all have them, right?
oh my gosh,
We
all a
have them.
bunch of
Like
one
we
after
we can't
another.
work them all together, but we always have them. We always bump into another one. But it's finding those people that actually are supporting whatever it is. I mean, even if it's like an ancestor in your mind or a grandmother that would have said something lovely to you or something. It's that idea about um, knowing that people believe in you and reminding yourself of who those people are, right, in your life
Oh
to pull
yes.
yourself forward. So I always have this idea right now when things are unsettled is that there is this. I believe this, and I think our ancestors did and our grandparents did, that we're going to get through this time.
Oh yes.
We're gonna even if it's a chapter of your life, if it's a thing that's difficult, if it's whatever it might be, or a growth spurt or a new job or whatever it is, that you're gonna get through that time.
Yes. I think that's very thoughtful. There is a poem. I did not write it. I used to love, even when I was young, I love poetry. It's by Theodore Tilton. It's called Even This Shall Pass Away. And it's a great, really easy poem, but it talks to exactly what you're talking about. Things come in, things come out. It's okay. Again, it's that centered nature of what's going on. And I love the idea of thinking of a family member or a friend or even a pet, because they're wonderful healers, you
Yes.
know, after you've kind of pulled your energy in or you close your eyes. And I think closing the eyes is very powerful because sometimes you just need to shut the world out and have a moment. Visualize the energy of that dog. Think of a memory or your grandma or somebody, a close friend.
Hmm.
Pull that. That's also very spiritual and energy where you're just like, yeah, you know, if you can access it, then do it. It's a balm. Remember, it's
Hmm.
a little joy. Again, you're like, wow, that was a great trip, or that was a great moment. It's not indulgent. It's joy stacking.
Yes. Yes. Joy stacking. Well, always good to talk to you. I just love all the things that we collaborate around in our minds. It's good and important to remember. So thanks for taking the time and
Oh,
being
my
one of my
pleasure.
synchronicities.
Yeah.
And I'll look forward to seeing you and talking to you again soon.
Well, thank you. And yeah, everybody be sweet to yourself.
Hmm.
Mwah. Don't forget
Absolutely.
that.
Okay. All right. Have a good rest of the day. And thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Thank you.